I think we got lucky. That was the message post-game from New Jersey Devils head coach Lindy Ruff as the Devils recovered from blowing a 3-goal lead to ultimately winning their 4th straight home game in overtime 5-4 over the Vancouver Canucks on Monday. Hi, I'm James Burley for WFUV Sports. And the Devils came out of the All-Star break in 2nd place in the Metropolitan Division in a good standing going into the second half of the season, ahead of a playoff push. And the Vancouver Canucks would be their first opponent post-break on Monday, and it was a close affair. Early on, it would be the Canucks who would take advantage of the Devils falling asleep early. It would be Andrei Kuzmenko who would score after a lovely toe drag to get past Dougie Hamilton before beating Vitek Vanacek glove side. Jack Hughes, the All-Star for New Jersey, would later tie things up in that first period with a lovely backhand power move to beat Colin Delia in net for the Vancouver Canucks. And MVP chants were starting. This was the first time we've heard them at the Prudential Center this season for Jack Hughes. The last time we heard MVP chants in New Jersey was 2018 when Taylor Hall had a 26-game point streak. He would eventually go on to win the Hart Trophy that season. Jack Hughes is probably going to have a lot of competition moving forward with Connor McDavid, who is on pace for literally 150 points, which hasn't been done since Mario Lemieux got 160 in 95-96. So this Hart Trophy race is going to come down to the wire. Hughes is on 67 points through 50 games, as he would later go on to add a second goal in the second period. In that second period, though, the Devils flew out of the gates. Ondrej Palat would eventually get a goal about halfway through that period to make things 2-1. But there was when the Devils came alive. 28 seconds later, it's Ondrej Palat again to add a second one. And just a few seconds after that, it's Jack Hughes to get his second. 4-1 New Jersey, 3 goals in 50 seconds in the second period. And we've talked before about how the Devils have struggled in the middle of games. They play a really good start and a really good finish, but they tend to lose themselves in the middle 20-minute frame when they need to be consistent. This time, they turn the script around a little bit. 4-1, they head into the end of the second period, but it would be Luke Schenn's shot from the point that would cut the lead in half to 4-2, one step on the road back for Vancouver. And then, with just 26 seconds left, it would be Curtis Lazar who grabs just his second of the year. Some really, really key contributors on the back end here from the Vancouver Canucks. Luke Schenn scoring his 3rd of the year. Curtis Lazar scoring his 2nd, and early in the 3rd period, it would be 4th liner Phil DiGiuseppe, former New York Ranger forward, to get his 1st of the year and just his 2nd game of the season to tie things up at 4-4 and send it into overtime. And this is a very interesting dilemma for the Vancouver Canucks now that they've traded their all-star Bo Horvat to the New York Islanders, and they've fired head coach Bruce Boudreau despite him seemingly being mistreated by the front office, bringing in Rick Touche. It seemed like this is a season now where the Canucks may not really have much to lose. And in this game, they certainly played like that after going down by 3. However, the Devils would ultimately recover and restore order at the Prudential Center, putting the crowd on its feet after picking up a power play in overtime. They were 0 for 3 on the power play through the first 60 minutes, and the Vancouver Canucks have the 32nd ranked penalty kill, so there was some concern there, but it would be Jesper Bratt on a one-time feed from Jack Hughes to fire it away to make it 5-4 past Colin Delia. The Devils would ultimately win this one, moving up to 68 points on the season, still trailing the Carolina Hurricanes in the Metropolitan Division. But going forward, this looks like a great example of what this Devils team is made of. They've won games where they've controlled all 60 minutes. They've won games where they haven't looked good for even a little bit of it. And in this one, they have a great second period, but blow a lead and ultimately recover. They've come back in games. They've won games where they've blown leads. This looks like a team that knows how to win in every way possible. And even when they're not at their best, which is something we've talked about before, players stepping up in big moments. Jesper Bratt in overtime. It was Dougie Hamilton against Vegas and against Pittsburgh, and it was Damon Severson against the Rangers going back to early January. But this overtime home stretch, it's concerning that they're not getting the wins in 60 minutes at home, but it says a lot about their character that they're able to grind out these results. And another thing, we talk about goaltending all the time for this team because of the stark contrast from last season to this season, and Vitek Vanacek just continues to keep that conversation rolling with his 10th straight win of the season. Way back when it was 7 straight for Vitek, he was the first goaltender in Devils history to do that since Martin Brodeur. He just keeps climbing up the franchise list now, and Vitek has done so much to earn all the applause in New Jersey. Just a terrific job coming in as a first-year Devil in what was a big role to take up in the goaltending position, and he's done that, and this Devils team is continuing to flourish. They will be in action next Thursday against the Seattle Kraken at home. It's going to be a very tough game against the Pacific Division leaders in Seattle, who have, just like the Devils, been a surprise of their conference, where the Devils, not many people expected them to be holding a playoff position this strongly this far into the year. The Seattle Kraken, likewise, are in the Western Conference turning heads. So that is sure to be a fun one on Thursday night. For WFUV Sports, I'm James Burley. I will see you guys next time.